I think without social media, this story would have gone nowhere.
What are you actually influencing people to do? Because I don't see no influencers, any influencers speaking up on big things like this.
But also, Wilder's fighting in front of like 3,000 people.
Yeah, because he's a no one.
Welcome back to the NSFW podcast right here on Balls Up. If you're listening on the podcast app or Spotify, please rate and review us 5 stars. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button, hit subscribe, leave a nice comment, tell us what you want to see and what you want to hear us talk about next week. It's just me, Sav, and a bad mood Horner. What's happened to you?
I'm wound up.
Horner's in a stinking mood going into this podcast.
I've just had a day where I'm constantly being pulled into fucking meetings.
Oh,
and I just need an hour to do my work.
Well, you've got an hour to do a podcast with us instead, mate.
Okay, I will enjoy this. I will enjoy it.
I'm hoping you're going to perk up a little bit.
I will do. Because
I'll be honest, it only reflects badly on all of us, Dave.
Yeah. Plus, I'm also annoyed because someone crept up behind me and drew on my neck on with crayon.
What?
Like a 5-year-old earlier.
Who was that?
No prizes for guessing who.
Oh, yeah, it was me.
Yeah.
Well, does that really put you in that bad a mood, is it?
No,
you need to liven up a bit,
It's like working with children. You just sit there trying to write something and you hear... and he runs around and you're like, oh, what's on my neck?
Would you grow up? Anyway, what's everybody been up to this week?
This week?
What are we up to this week?
I don't know.
Much, we had the Halloween party.
It's weird. We've actually done nothing, isn't it? We haven't really done anything.
You didn't do anything this weekend? What did you do this weekend?
This weekend was fireworks. That's what I did this weekend.
Where did you go? You went Ali Pali?
Ali Pali. It's the best place to go. You can see out across the whole of London.
Yeah, but you're not happy because they charge you now, are they?
Yeah, that's the only downside. They used to get it for free, and then the council was like, nah.
How much?
It's like $12.50.
Whoa!
But bear in mind, my cousins are over from New York, so that's me. I paid for 4 of my cousins.
Sure enough.
Right? And the missus.
Oh, that's
so
that's
that's
60.
So that's how much is that?
And then we went rum kitchen.
So how much is that?
£60
It's a lot, yeah. It's a lot
of money, yeah.
That is mental.
Yeah, it's a lot. But it was worth it because they'd never been before. They'd never even been Ali Pali before.
But did they like it? And was it anything compared to the New York fireworks? I imagine they're pretty outrageous.
They're all right, but it's...
Fireworks are fireworks, aren't they?
I know, we were saying this. I was walking to the pub last night with Temps and Zach.
Yeah.
And we were saying, get rid of fireworks because they haven't developed them. They haven't taken them to the level they should be at. By now, I haven't seen a firework improve since the 80s. I think what they should be doing...
Seriously, I'm gutted I wasn't there for such a great conversation.
Wicked conversation.
With Zach, Temps and Joe. Going to the pub. Talking about how she get rid of
Weatherspoons, and there was a bloke in there the whole night.
That's what you mean.
Sat right behind us. It was bizarre, mate. I couldn't stop looking at him. Weatherspoons is awful. It's one of the worst Weatherspoons I've ever been into. Shout out to Crown and Scepter in Clapham. Absolutely grim. Some of the people in there were horrendous.
No, the fireworks were good, bro. They were good. They've got a laser show.
You pulled it back.
No.
You pulled it back from your nonsense.
Yeah, because you were going to say something. I know you were going to say something offensive.
Yeah,
that's
he was. Look at him. He's itching. He's slag off the landlord.
But have you ever been to a Weatherspoons where blokes come around selling music?
He had to get it in. He had to get it in.
You know when a guy comes around selling CDs on the street on Oxford Street, you're like, no thanks.
Went into the
Weatherspoons.
Weatherspoons.
It was in spoons.
I've had that
doing it.
I've never had that.
Mate, come on. You've had that in Marbella.
Not so much CDs. I've had people come in who are like trying to sell or like collecting for charity and stuff.
Nah, he came around, he was trying to flog CDs, and then Temps was sat there and he had a speaker on his back. Whacked Temps and he had a vegetable lasagna. Vegetable lasagna went everywhere and Temps was fuming.
I imagine Zach got roped in the final.
Nah, Zach didn't actually, he just looked him in the eye. I think it was the Algerian in him. Just kind of went, move on.
The Algerian went, move on.
Well,
fair play.
Good negotiator as that lab, actually.
No.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, how was Ali Pali?
Ali Pali was good. They've got a laser show, as I was trying to say before, right? Where they're doing like music.
Yeah.
The fireworks are going to the music.
Ooh.
It's sick, bro. So the fireworks are going to the music, like to the beat.
That's an advancement.
And then they've got lasers coming out and doing madness as well with smoke machines. It's crazy.
But aren't lasers the same sort of lack of real excitement as fireworks? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but combined it makes excitement.
Really?
Oh, I like that.
I don't know if it's a sign of getting old, but like this
Maybe.
year, I literally walked 27.
Wow,
Yeah.
man.
I walked out of my house. The other day getting in my car, and a fire went off, and I literally went, like just a tap.
You're boring.
It was just like, yeah, but it's also just
Your mood stinks.
A dog died this year, right? I read this on a website earlier today, looking for a story for this
because
you
funny,
decided you lost one. But a dog had a heart attack and died from being scared from fireworks.
That must happen all the time.
And what did you respond to that when I said to you that story?
Yeah, well, there's a bloke who died from eating a slug 4 years ago.
That was his response. But even like, didn't even respond. I was like, a dog died. I had a heart attack to the fireworks. He just went, but a bloke. It's like, I'm not asking you to top it. I'm just telling you something that happened.
Yeah, I know.
And then Millard turns around and goes, a horse died as well. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah,
just shouting crap stories.
Yeah,
But
but
I can
equally-
actually attest to that though. Like my mum used to have a border terrier called Janice, right?
And you have a go at the Balls Up Nation
Because that's
for
a
sending
terrible-
in
that's a
dead
terrible name.
animal names.
I didn't name it, did I? All right
Have a word
then.
with your mum.
She didn't name it either. But yeah, and the dog used to hate fireworks as well. Like when they were going off, like shaking, hackles are up, doing madness.
But why have they not developed fireworks yet that move like Harry Potter ones? You know those ones
like
that go up and then
madness.
they create like shapes like dragon in the night, and then like
That's not
a
Harry
tiger jumps across the.
That's the.
It is Harry Potter. Might be the Hobbit. It's one of them sort of mystical ones. They need to start creating
They've
these.
I know
got
what
as
you
far
mean.
as hearts, haven't they?
Oh wow, that's pathetic.
But the thing is, if you were, do you remember, have you
Nah,
ever seen
over
my
in Asia,
favourite
they've got some
firework
madness
one?
ones.
Do you remember a couple of years ago there was that? I think it was in Glasgow or Edinburgh, but their big thing, and whoever was setting it up just didn't do the time delays, and so they had like half an
went off.
hour's worth of fireworks that went at once.
Oh, it just went.
Do you not remember
boom,
that?
boom, boom,
And it
boom.
was just
I do remember that.
full-on explosion. It lasted like 15 seconds,
Oh my
and then
God.
just a smoky sky.
That sounds sick.
And everyone went home.
That sounds
sick.
sick.
I thought it was quality, great.
That is sick. Well,
But yeah,
that's-
so fireworks is pretty much
What
it.
were
That,
you
and
been
then
up
yeah, what
I
were
was
you been
moving
up to?
moving in on the weekend.
Oh, that's what I did. I was trying to think I did.
What do you mean? That's what I did. You were only there for 3 hours.
Sorry, would you rather I wasn't?
No, I really did appreciate you.
There you
Kevin. I did appreciate you, Kevin. Sav didn't turn up.
No,
You didn't invite me.
Didn't.
I would have.
But you know what? He wasn't invited. He offered.
Okay.
Nice man.
Okay.
So.
Well, you could have offered, couldn't you?
Well, yeah, I could.
But he didn't. Anyway,
Zach did as well, didn't he?
Zach Jalab also offered. Came and helped.
He's got what to do though.
Basically.
Do you want to stop swearing?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Because we have to bleep it every time.
I do apologise.
But
It just makes
equally,
more work for Georgia, doesn't it?
it's
Oh, leave it then. She doesn't do anything.
it's a real long day moving in, or a long
Yeah.
weekend.
You should have
moving
seen his little face
Yeah.
when I showed up at his house in the morning. He opened the door. His eyes were barely open. He went, "Hello."
in. No, I didn't. I went.
Oh, you went-
Welcome to Cassidy. There's
Yeah.
no one to bleep Georgia.
Yeah. And he walked in and he just went, "Come and have a look at this." And he walked into his living room, and the entire Joe's got one of those living rooms. It's kind of like two rooms with a wall knocked through the middle.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
quite long.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's basically just the whole floor was just covered in bags.
Oh,
Probably about
mate.
20% yours, wasn't it?
Yeah, 20% mine. Most of the
One
clothes,
one
honestly.
trip we did was just coats.
Just coats.
Just Chloe's coats.
coats. He's my girlfriend, by the way. But
But yeah, so we just loaded up the
mad.
car. We did about 4 trips, didn't we?
then I went IKEA, and IKEA Croydon, shout out for being the worst hellhole on earth. Honestly, if you need to torture a patient, CIA, stick him in IKEA Croydon. You'll be getting answers out of him in minutes. I was
CIA.
walking round, just shout out to
CIA using IKEA Croydon.
Honestly, I can't describe. Went Saturday afternoon, IKEA Croydon. Oh, I was in there 5 hours, and oh my god, it's
You
like a
start losing
painful
your head.
experiment.
You start losing the plot. Like,
I
you
wasn't
start
even losing the
feeling
plot.
less human.
I was near kicking kids. There was it's hundreds of kids just sprinting around IKEA
Yeah,
Croydon,
man.
screaming.
Good meatballs though.
I didn't try them. Didn't
That's
try
the
'em.
reason
Try it.
most people go
I had
there.
to do
Meatballs are wavy.
I had to do 3 trips as well to get
Yeah,
everything back
that's
home.
mad, that's
I
mad.
could have killed someone by the end of it. I could have killed someone. The next day I spent 10 hours putting together IKEA furniture without an electric drill.
On the subject of IKEA though, shout out to the fella. I read this the other day. Some bloke walked around IKEA and started drawing on the floor his own arrows.
Oh,
You
that's
know those arrows that lead you round.
That's
Chaos.
jokes.
He started doing his own ones.
got arrested for that.
So that
Did he?
so that it was.
What?
He said he was just leading people in circles, but so that you were never going the way you should be.
That's
And
jokes.
apparently, like the store was rammed
chaos.
because people
That is
weren't
hilarious.
making
That
it
is
through.
such a funny
Because you
idea.
have to go all the way to get the exit.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he was like sending them back to the beginning.
That is so funny. That's
Yeah.
a wicked idea for a video.
It is.
Probably the second best prank that's ever been held in IKEA.
After
The
one
first,
and only
a young
Latif.
man, Latif, held a house party, didn't he?
yeah.
Yeah. Shout out Latif.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty decent video, wasn't it?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
it
How many
really.
views did that do?
Don't know, let's have a look.
A
It
good
went,
300K,
it
good
went on a
300K.
few different places as well,
About
didn't it?
300K,
It was like
did it?
shared around, I think.
It was
But
a
yeah.
good video.
That was basically my weekend. Nothing compared to yours. Nothing exciting. Still waiting for me Wi-Fi to be installed.
Mine
so.
wasn't that exciting, bro. Just other than that, it was just Red Dead. Just playing Red
I
Dead.
played
consistently.
so much
So
as well
Red Dead.
last week.
Yeah, 350k.
Yeah.
I played so much Red Dead last week.
Yeah, I think we've all kind of been. I'll be honest. I'm not as far in the story as you because I've been like, I'll spend 3 hours on it just pottering about, just doing random stuff.
Yeah, you would though, wouldn't you? You're boring.
No, I was trying to catch this white horse that he was after.
Yeah. What are you lot trying to do? I don't understand.
No, I gave
because
up
you
in
can
the end.
unlimited sprint with it.
Okay.
Do you know how much
Do you know
quicker
the
that makes
reason
the
I
game?
stopped was it took me so long to do it that I bonded so much with my young man over the course of it. I was like, well, I'm just going to stick with
What
Cheetah.
did you name your horse?
Well, when I had the white one, it was called Ghost. And it was superb. And I bonded to like horse level 4. I could do the drifts with it. And then I tried to rob a train, and it died. And I woke up with a Tennessee Walker. Get out! Don't come at me with that nonsense horse ever again.
That's sad. That is
Pathetic. Should we move on to stories? Then he's providing the first one.
Shall we move on? Do you want to start? What are we going with today?
I think we'll go that way.
You go this
let's
way?
go from
I think
you
mine
first,
leads
Savile.
to him.
Yeah,
so-
mine's off the back of his.
So you lot will have seen, or may not have seen, the video circulating of the Grenfell Tower bonfire.
I've seen it.
Now, this is going to be quite a difficult thing for me to talk about because I'm going to have to refrain from
Anger.
and swearing.
Yeah, you said earlier when you said about this, you went, "Oh, we'll have to not swear," and I think it's like
It's difficult
It's
not
so
to
hard
because
to-
the
yeah.
more you talk about it, the more you think about what they're actually doing, the more you get angry and just you can't actually think. So
Describe what it is for people who haven't seen it.
so
So,
all of those
go on.
words that you would add in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll carry on.
Go on, what's happened basically? Describe what it is.
essentially, Bonfire Night comes round and these group of
People won't know what
5
Bonfire Night is either if they're not in the UK.
So Bonfire Night is named after. Is also called Guy Fawkes Night. So I go through the whole thing. It's quite a long. like,
It's basically a tradition in England
Yeah.
where
but you got to go
you have
into the back.
bonfires.
Well, yeah, but
You burn stuff.
Yeah, Guy Fawkes tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament
Yeah.
in England, and because of that, we don't really celebrate it, but it's like a tradition to have a big fire in a field or with your family and
Yeah.
like get everybody together on.
And
the
usually families will just pile up like old wood
Old
or sort
stuff.
of old
Old
stuff that you
Burn it,
stuff,
basically.
yeah, and burn it. And this
Big
family
bonfires.
made essentially an effigy, which is like a big sort of model of Grenfell Tower with people in the windows of the tower
And hanging off it.
and hanging off it and everything like that, and put it in a fire and burn it. And if you don't know what Grenfell Tower is, I don't know where you've been, but just to fill you in, it was basically a tower in West London towards Ladbroke Grove where a huge council estate tower caught fire and dehoused and loads of people died.
Oh, but how long ago? We've
Last
literally
year, was it?
Last year.
it was like we've done the year's anniversary, didn't we? Like a while back. So
And again, like, I don't know if you've watched that podcast, but in that podcast I said that it affected me personally because I knew people who lived around the area and just underneath the tower who even now to this day still don't have a home.
yeah, trying to put their lives back together.
And when I see this video, people laughing and joking about it, it's like I don't get where that comes from. What is it that
It's the laughing.
It
that's
renders
like-
me
yeah.
speechless. I don't understand how you're able to make a video like that and put it out. And,
They're
and
basi-
it's just I don't
They're
understand. what they were
basically
thinking.
burning the tower
What are they
and
thinking?
laughing while they do it. So
Yeah.
they're basically burning the model of
Yeah.
the tower that burnt down and laughing. They're even like pushing the people, and one bloke at one stage I think imitates the scream, doesn't he? And he's like, "Ah, help," or something like that, and everybody's like laughing. It's absolutely
So,
crazy.
do you know
this
what?
video went out.
So I think first of all, because actually, there's one point to this story which would be the same point with all of these kind of things, which I think we should just kind of pass off because it's not really the issue. That being, why would you post this? So I think we just forget why would you post this because
yeah.
people are idiots. Like the world is full of absolute idiots.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter.
Why would
It's
you
not
do
about
it?
why would you post it. It's
Yeah.
just like what
possessed you to do that?
what has to be your mindset to think that a tragedy like that dehoused, killed, and sort of effectively ruined a lot of people's lives, a hell of a lot of people's lives, is something for you to mock and make a joke out
It's
of.
crazy.
Yeah.
Like, and also, I'd be so ashamed if I found out that my social group was a group of people that all collectively found that funny. Do you know what I mean? Like, I actually thought about this the other day, that if I was going to someone like a family, luckily this would never be the case, but if I was going to a family or family friends bonfire night, and you walked in, and you saw that that's what had been put forward.
Madness.
People say that I'd walk out. I wouldn't walk out. I would make it so clear how I feel about it, because I think like it's absolutely disgusting.
And do you know what? I saw a lot of people when that tweet was being shared, like a lot of the responses were, why are you giving this publicity? Like, obviously, it was retweeted like thousands and thousands and thousands of times. But I saw a lot of like the comments of replied tweets were like, obviously hammering people, were saying like, find the faces, you're disgusting, like hammering, and rightly so. And then there were some people who were like, why are you giving this publicity? Everybody stop tweeting about it, everybody stop retweeting about it. Like I think that's completely the wrong attitude.
Yeah,
I think
people
like
don't get called up for it.
Yeah, exactly. Then people don't get called out for it. Like this is a horrible thing you've done.
Yeah.
Whoever it is, like it's a disgusting
Stuff
thing.
like this shouldn't be brushed under the carpet.
No.
Yeah, why would you try and brush it under the carpet? Like, I'm fully behind the campaign of like, find these people. Because I saw people like tweeting their faces.
Am I right in saying that just at the point of us recording this, from what I've heard, that supposedly the people who filmed it have handed themselves in?
Yeah, apparently so.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
There's been arrests made around it. I think there's 4 or 5. Was it 4 people or 5 people?
4 or 5 people. One of them, all I know is that they're sort of all in their mid-40s, is that right?
Other than one who's
and
19.
then one's 19.
90
Which
or
also,
19.
19. Now you can look at it and go, God, 19-year-old. You can also look at it as like, that 19-year-old is even though he's an adult now, he's just a product of what's around him, which is like, it's just...
Although at 19, whether or not you've grown up in that environment, surely, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do we know where it happened? Was it in London?
I don't actually know.
Let me take a little look. I mean, it shouldn't actually...
It shouldn't matter.
It doesn't matter, but what to me, right, like I said before, knowing people that were living in the area and how much it's affected them, and still over a year after it, they've still not been rehoused, and they know people who lived in the building and have died. Like, it's not this. Grenfell didn't just affect people in West London. This wasn't just something that affected London. This was something that affected the wider UK. This was like the fact that it happened itself was completely unacceptable, and Theresa May was berated for the way she handled it, and I think Jeremy Corbyn won a lot of praise for the way he handled it as well, although that's neither here nor there. It's the way now I'm irritated with the fact that May has come out and said it's absolutely disgusting that this video has come out. It's like you didn't do anything when it happened anyway. So you obviously don't care about this video. Don't even pretend to care. I can't. It renders me speechless. I don't know what to say when I'm speaking about it because I get so angry. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't understand how the mindset can come about of. The thing is, what you've got to think is that is not just like a impulse thing where somebody's
thought about
somebody said something,
no.
just like an impulse statement that they've then gone, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that.
They've
pre-crafted it.
Like,
they've made it out of wood.
To never think, what am I doing here?
Hang on, should I really be recreating Grenfell Tower to burn here? Is that
it's also, so I've just had a little look there. So South Norwood, which is South London, is where a house has been supposedly raided to do with the people giving themselves in. So again, not that it makes a difference, but I know what your point you're making as well. Considering how much it actively affected
the
people
whole
in
of London,
for it to be here as well is one thing. Also, what's in there is some of the quotes that. Like, and the report is saying the quotes that you can hear people saying in the video.
Definitely, he says, "Help me." I think.
The only one I'm going to say, because there's some of the things in there just like it's disgusting, but there's one in there of people, at the end of the video, someone saying this is what happens when they don't pay their rent, and it's just like, so it's also not just disgusting what they've done, but it's also a severe lack of knowledge of the thing you're taking the piss out of.
Yeah.
The reason, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but the cause of the blaze, the reason it took to the level it did, was because of the conditions and the materials that were used to build that tower block.
There was no iron cladding.
Yeah, they weren't protecting the way they should have been.
It was like flammable cladding, wasn't it? They hadn't paid the extra to have
the one thing that it has nothing to do with.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to know.
Yeah.
I don't even want to know how many other towers in London have the same exact setup as Grenfell, and I guarantee you nothing will probably be done about it anyway.
No, that was one big thing that was made a clear point of at the time of the fire, was that you actually look at it and you can see surrounding tower blocks that are all built from the same era, obviously exactly the same style, because they never really do these things in one-off because that's going to cost too much. They do them in bulk. And it still feels like, imagine living in one of those places.
No.
Like, constantly thinking, well, this is
all it
like
takes is for
definitely
one bloke to leave his oven on for too long.
Yeah.
And maybe half the tower will go up again.
It's crazy.
It's madness. And not just that, going back to your point of not giving something publicity, there was, I don't know if it was a week ago, a couple of weeks ago, there was a boy, a 16-year-old boy, in Mississippi, I believe it was, who was lynched, right? He was lynched, and no coverage, no news coverage whatsoever. And that's what happens when the internet doesn't speak up sometimes. Because if you're letting the broadcasters control what we see news-wise, then we won't see half of the things that are going on in the world. We literally just won't. So if you're not, like you're saying, retweeting is giving it publicity, blah, 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 but maybe people wouldn't have known about it.
They wouldn't have.
And then what? Like, these people
I think without
away with
social
it.
media, this story would have gone nowhere.
Yeah.
There would have been like
we
one
spoke-
video posted about it, would never have made headlines.
Yeah.
There's no way you'd have seen a Prime Minister
Yeah.
commenting on
We've
it.
spoke about this, I think, on a podcast before, but it sort of comes down to the fact that social media gives you the ability to speak on anything, but as anyone that uses it, you have to understand that there's a responsibility that comes from you doing that. Do you know what I mean? Of how
always
you
comes with responsibility.
exactly,
man.
but people don't look at it that way sometimes. People think that they can just use Twitter or whatever to post what they want, and they're untouchable. It's not only that you're untouchable; it's that your voice can mean something if you try to use it for the right cause.
For real. Which goes back, again, the term influencer is bandied around so much in our industry, right? What are you actually influencing people to do? Because I don't see no influencers, any influencers speaking up on big things like this and speaking up on things that actually matter. You're influencing people to go and do what? What are you actually influencing people to do? That's your job as an influencer. So influence people to do better. Don't just influence people to go and watch your videos. If you have a voice and you have a platform, use it to do something with.
There we go.
I don't think we can say much more on it than that.
No, should we go to story number 2?
Yeah, rant over.
Do you know, that kind of takes us on to the other one.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Tyson Fury. After his Joe Rogan MMA show podcast. If you haven't listened to it already, go and listen to it after this. Obviously, don't just quit now.
We're sort of perfect across the board. You've listened to the whole thing. I haven't listened to any. You've listened to half.
Yeah, I've listened to the whole thing. So obviously, Tyson Fury will be fighting Wilder on December 1st. I think it's in New York. No, it's in LA. It's in LA.
Yeah, it's Cali.
Yeah. No, I think it's Vegas.
Is it Vegas? It's definitely West Coast.
Yeah, I think it's Vegas. I'm pretty sure it's Vegas. It might be the MGM Grand, something like that. But he's fighting Deontay Wilder. Now, obviously, he talks pretty heavily in the podcast about fighting Deontay Wilder and the reasons that he's fighting Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
But if you haven't listened to it already, Staples Center. Tyson Fury's life story is insanely interesting.
It is very...
It's awesomely interesting.
Yeah.
And we will be live streaming the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury fight in the same way we did with McGregor Mayweather, was it?
And you'll be here for that one.
You'll be here. I'll be here for that one. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Even though it made for great viewing, hopefully it doesn't sort of end in a melee like the last one did.
17,000 views.
So first, let's just talk about who do we think is going to win?
Out of them two?
Fury.
I'm going to go Fury as well.
Yeah.
I think Fury wins it.
Go on, we'll say why we think that, but go on.
I'm so torn. I'm so torn.
Yeah?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Fury wins it. But I feel like that's our British bias coming across.
You reckon?
No, I don't think it's that. I'll be honest,
so.
I'm not a massive Fury fan as him as a person.
Well, that's good.
I think, I think the reason he wins it is just he's an enigma within the heavyweight division in a way. He's so unorthodox compared to other people. Also, the weirdest thing is, whenever I think to myself, I think Fury's going to win it, and then I go watch him, his legs just make me think, well, why do I rate this guy? Because his legs look like they're a mess constantly.
Like nines.
But, but, like, you can't argue his track record.
Yeah.
And I think when I watch Wilder, I personally feel like, and I haven't seen as much of Wilder as other people, but I personally feel like with Wilder, he's not as technically sound
That's an understatement.
as someone at his level you'd expect to be. And I think that Fury's got so much more experience in bigger fights like that.
Yeah.
That I actually, but do you know what? I think he'll actually be a more convincing win for Fury than we're even giving this credit for.
But
I think he'll pick him apart.
I think that would have been the case pre-mental breakdown. I think Tyson Fury of 2 years ago, post Klitschko win, steps into the ring 6 months later with Deontay Wilder. It's a walkover. Deontay Wilder can't land a punch in him. He gets outboxed. At the end of the day, as Tyson Fury says in that podcast, this comes down to raw natural power versus boxing ability. And he's 100% right. Deontay Wilder's power is
unrivaled,
unbelievable. But he shouldn't be able to land a punch on Fury. That's how fast Fury used to be. He should not be able to land a punch. But 2 years later, I watched that first comeback fight by Tyson Fury.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know.
Different fighter.
Also, you got to remember that you're pretty much, you're not talking about the same level of fight though.
But you've got to think. So when he came back, he told Frank Warren, is now promoter, isn't he? He told Frank Warren, "I want to come back to fight Deontay Wilder." Because Deontay Wilder was one of the reasons he managed to get out of his mental depression. He managed to clear his head and come back. Because he basically says, really interesting anecdote, he was struggling so badly. He was driving down the middle of a road driving down a motorway in a Ferrari. He just bought a Ferrari. And he didn't care about anything in his life at this stage. He didn't care about money, cars, whatever. He bought a Ferrari. And he says he remembers thinking to himself, this is it for me. And he saw the middle parting like 2 miles away and just put it straight up to 180 and went, I'm going straight through the middle of that. Just he thought, I'm just going to kill myself. And he was basically said it would have folded like a matchbox.
Yeah, it would have gone like this.
And at the last moment, he just pulled out of it and went, I can't do it. I can't do it. I've got kids and stuff. And he went home and he like cried. He's a really religious guy. And he says basically faith got him through the dark times. And he just cried and he cried and he like prayed to God. And he said when he came out off his knees, all of his depression was gone. And he was just focused on being the world champion again.
One of the things that he was saying, right, about the best way to get out of that space, being in depression, was setting goals. So whether that goal is as tiny as I want to get out of bed by this time this morning, or whether it's I want to be the next world champion, you've got to give yourself goals to work towards. And no matter how big or small they are, when you hit them, it makes you feel better.
And he had so many goals to overcome to get into this fight. He had a crazy amount of stuff to do into this fight. He had to He'd failed a drugs test for cocaine. He'd failed another for performance-enhancing drugs, hadn't he? But that got thrown out. He had lost his boxing license. He had to give up the title 7 days after beating Klitschko. He'd had to get over his mental struggles. He did all of these in the space of 3 months. He's lost 267 pounds or something like that. I think he was at 460 pounds, something like that.
He lost a lot of weight.
He lost about 200 pounds, something like that.
A lot of weight.
To get back to this one.
Yeah.
And he has got a whole new trainers, all new promoters. He didn't want to use any of the people he did before, which to me is a little bit worrying.
What's worrying there? First of all, why... We're going to come into... You said there was an anecdote on why he picked his trainer. But first I want to ask, why did he choose to not use anyone who used it before?
He wanted a fresh start, just a completely clean slate.
So it wasn't that they were a bad influence or anything like that?
No, he basically said that...
You got to remember it was his uncle. It was his uncle that was his fighter before.
Klitschko
Because it's all of them, isn't it? His brothers, they're all under him.
Pre-Klitschko win, he said his mind was, I'm going to beat Klitschko, I'm done, never boxing again.
Yeah, but that was what he always said going into it. And then when he won the world title, he pretty much said...
Yeah, and that's me done. And he did walk away. At 27, he retired. And then he went and he did more drugs than you could possibly imagine and was sleeping with loads of women and all this kind of stuff. And his wife stuck with him and he came back and he was like, right, I'm refocused. I'm going to win the world championship again. And it was Deontay Wilder who basically got him out of it. Deontay Wilder was talking crap about him. And he said, I'm not having it off a bloke who boxes like that. A bloke who boxes like a windmill, chatting crap about me. I'm going to come out of retirement and I'll prove it myself. I'll lose 200 pounds and I'll still beat you. I'll still be overweight. I will be unfit, and I'll still beat you. And so that's the reason he's come back. And he got whole new training partners. And he went to the way he found his trainer.
Oh mate.
So he went to Marbella.
Right.
This is
spoilers for the podcast, by the way. I'm happy for you to just tell me.
And Joe Rogan even says, I'm not sure that's the right decision in the podcast. But he goes to Marbella with Billy Joe Saunders to a training camp. Billy Joe Saunders is like, do you want to come out just for a couple of weeks? And Tyson Fury openly says, yeah, I went out there just for like the booze and the party. Yeah. So
he said he called him over to help him out with the fight. He said, I'm not going there.
I'm just going there to get out for the booze. At one stage, he was like, I used to go out every night, drink 18 pints of beer, which is 18 pints, whiskey, vodkas, the lot, and then get home, and then just tell my wife I was going to be world champion again, fall asleep, and then do the same next day. And then she just didn't believe him when he rang her up after the prayer and stuff, and being like, yeah, I'm going to be world champion again. She was like, yeah, okay, Tyson. Anyway, so he gets to Marbella, Billy Joe Saunders' fight camp, and doing a bit of sparring and stuff, obviously massively overweight. But he's still so quick. And if you watch him on the pads, he's still so quick.
How is he such a big bastard? He's so quick.
It's natural ability, though,
It's
isn't
just
it? I know it can only
natural
take you
ability.
so far, but it's natural ability.
He's such a good boxer.
Yeah.
And he basically is sat in a bar with Billy Joe Saunders and
his
this trainer called Ben, who's like 23 years old, never trained a
23, 24.
boxer before, by the way.
Right.
Never trained a boxer before, professionally. And he goes, Ben, two stone cold stunners, in his words, walk past 2 10 out of 10s. He goes, Ben, you're 24 years old, never coached, you never trained a boxer before. If you go and get those 2 girls' numbers, you come back and be my boxing trainer. Ben goes off, didn't get the numbers, comes back, and Tyson Fury goes, well, that's you done then, isn't it? That was your chance. That's you done. Ben's like, I'm not having it. So he goes off again, comes back 2 hours later with both the numbers. And he goes, yeah, sweet, you can be a boxer. He's still a boxing trainer now. It's his first time he's ever coached a professional boxer. So that's how he got his thing. And Joe Rogan's like, hang on, like, I'm not sure that's the best way to go. And he's like, well, I saw something and we just gelled straight away. And like he openly says to Tyson Fury, he's like, if I win this fight, Ben will be boxing trainer of the year this year.
Yeah, Ring Magazine boxing.
Ring Magazine World Boxing Champion Trainer of the Year. He's 24 years old and he knows more about boxing than anyone I've ever met. And like his mindset is that he's given given this young guy the platform to be like the world's best boxing trainer.
I kind of hope that
he can do it though.
For whatever you think of Tyson Fury, I kind of hope that if this all goes the way it should go like that, that someone's been following this entire journey with a camera. Do you know what I mean? Because this would be an incredible documentary.
100%, especially from some of the stuff he says. And then, do you know one thing I found quite sad though? At the end of it, Joe Rogan, you wouldn't have got to this. Rogan goes, "What are you going to do if you do knock out Deontay Wilder?" And if you do beat Deontay Wilder, what are you going to do?
What's next?
What's next for Tyson Fury? And he's like, I'll just go back into being depressed. Go back to 100 pounds. And Joe Rogan's just like, please don't do that. And then Tyson Fury is like, well, I can't. Don't know. Probably will happen.
Was there any mention of AJ?
There's a few mentions of AJ in there. They talk about AJ. They say they basically Joe Rogan asks him why is AJ dodging the Deontay Wilder fight, and Tyson Fury says that I've heard from inside sources at both camps Deontay offered him an $80 million 2-fight deal, $50 million the first, $30 million or 30 and then 50 on the rematch, and AJ rejected it.
Why?
I can't remember. He just basically the reason that Tyson Fury says that AJ won't fight Deontay and won't fight Tyson Fury is that there's no need. He's the golden boy of British boxing. He can take as much.
He can keep fighting.
He can take
those
as much
level fighters, and he'll
taking
just
those
be
fighters
the guy.
and winning all the championships by just taking on the challenger.
I'm not sure how much I believe of that though, because in my opinion, if I'm AJ and I'm watching Wilder fight, that is a huge payday for fighting somebody who we all know has not even half the boxing ability AJ does.
Yeah, of course. But
so why would you not just take the fight?
Because there is a risk there.
It's a risk.
There's a risk with every fight.
Yeah,
he almost got knocked out by Dylan White.
And he also almost got knocked out by Vladimir Klitschko.
Exactly.
And when he got knocked down by Klitschko, Tyson Fury in the podcast says that was the moment, his whole promoted team, and AJ went, we won't do one of them again. What's the point?
Yeah, you think that though? Think about it. You've just fought one of the best heavyweights of all time. You've come through it and then knocked him out.
I think that was the moment his career went bang.
That was his.
I'm not so
In
sure.
any boxer's career, the first time you're able to get up from being knocked down is the defining moment of your career, because he got up and he finished the fight.
I think Tyson Fury says that the hardest fight he's ever fought was Steve Cunningham.
Yeah.
He says Steve Cunningham was the best boxer. The only time I've ever been in a fight, so Steve Cunningham came up from cruiserweight to box him. He said the only time I've ever been in a ring with a better boxer than me, Steve Cunningham, knocked him over. Steve Cunningham cruiserweight. Yeah. He got up and then he knocked Tyson Fury. Ended up just going, right, I'm just going to use my sheer size and sit on you and knock you out.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously like a foot taller than him and weighed massively more.
Yeah.
And he says basically that AJ will never get in the ring with me because I'm a better boxer than him.
Yeah, and I actually do think that out of the two, Fury is a much more dangerous fighter.
Yeah, because he says I would never get in the ring again with Steve Cunningham. He was harder than Klitschko.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why would AJ get in the ring with me after realising that I'm harder than Klitschko, because I beat Klitschko and he didn't land a punch on me, and yet Klitschko knocked me over. Why would I get in the ring with Fury?
Yeah, no.
I get it.
Fury is if I was AJ, Fury would be the fight that I'm dodging.
The only
not
reason,
Wilder. I wouldn't be dodging Wilder.
I understand, yeah.
But
In
the
terms
only
of when
reason
we're
you take
talking about a
Wilder-
risk.
Yeah, there's not.
Out of the
why am I
two-
dodging Wilder?
It's
There's no need.
also,
It's
why are
your
you
biggest
dodging
payday.
2 fights?
But it's
Like,
not
take
even about
one
the
of them.
payday. I don't think AJ needs
He
the
doesn't
money.
need the money, but it's an easy payday.
But I
because
don't think it is.
I think it is, bro.
It's not as easy as some of the fights he's been taking.
Yeah, but
Or
they're not.
teams.
But are they paydays to that level? Surely the fights that AJ's taking at the moment are
AJ's
a
selling
quarter
out.
of the money.
Mate,
Yeah, but think about it. Though.
I don't
Like,
think
so
as much as
what
you
was
think.
what was AJ's last fight? Was what?
Povetkin. Right, Povetkin
So
is
Povetkin.
10 times more dangerous than Deontay Wilder.
No, he's not.
Yeah, no, but what was that fight worth?
10
to
times
AJ?
is 10 times
lot
a
of
stretch,
money.
but he's more dangerous.
How much? From what? From
Let's
what we
find
know,
out.
how
What,
much?
Povetkin?
I want to know.
15 to 20.
I want to know what the difference
10.
in money for AJ is in,
He
in
only
the
earned-
Povetkin fight versus the potential Wilder fight.
Only got 15 million for the Klitschko fight.
15.
15.
Yeah, and they're offering him 30 for the Deontay Wilder fight.
How do you know that? And how does
'Cause-
Tyson Fury know that?
Because he says he's seen the monetary contracts
As he now.
from Deontay Wilder's thing.
Oh, get out, man.
Because he asked to see them when he signed the contract against Deontay Wilder.
Oh, you know they're not forged.
Oh, I don't know, but that's
Well,
I'm
there
just
you go.
repeating what he
Yeah,
says.
but
in the
I
podcast.
don't. I think that's utter bollocks, man. There's no way. I'm in AJ's camp. I'm saying, no, you don't want that fight, bro. He's too dangerous. Big man. He's had 40 fights and he's fought 2 boxers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
potentially.
fought Ortiz and Stiverne. They're the only 2 people who I can say.
But the one thing I
were
will
decent
say is
opponents.
that the only reason that if you're AJ, you take a Deontay Wilder fight is not for the purse, because you can fight 3 fights.
Yeah, and
earn
get
as
the same
much,
purse, yeah.
But have no problem at all. And the one thing I'll say is it's his route into America. Joe Rogan even says in the podcast,
Yes.
if like you don't know who he is, and also the thing you don't know, this is another thing that really shocked me. Nobody in America knows who Deontay Wilder is.
Yeah, it doesn't because
They
No,
are.
it doesn't. No, have you seen
He's
the
not a
venues?
big name.
That,
He's
have
not
you
a
seen the
big
venues
name.
that Wilder fights?
Yeah, but Wilder has had what, a 40 fight?
yeah, and
40
name,
fights?
name any of the people he's fought.
Yeah, nobody.
No,
Because
but
they
think
all,
about-
he's been cherry picked and mollycoddled in the same way AJ is.
But also, Wilder's fighting in front of like 3,000 people.
Yeah, because
still.
he's a no one.
He's fighting in
nobody.
like little,
Yeah.
like crappy little venues.
I know, for
Still.
sure. I know. I think he's going to have a hell of a struggle
Now
against
here's-
Tyson Fury.
now
He
here's
doesn't
my thing.
realise it either.
Now here's my thing. Let's say Wilder is AJ's way into America.
Yeah.
Name me another American heavyweight.
Yeah, you can't because
Yeah, what's he doing when he's
Name
there?
me another American
Nah,
boxer. other
the,
than
the,
Floyd
tr-
Mayweather.
the trouble
Yeah.
is that America doesn't care about the heavyweights because the belt's been in Europe too long.
It's that, but it's also that the fact there's no one they can get behind.
No, but
Wilder-
the thing is,
Wilder's
you say
not-
that, but we lost interest in the heavyweight boxing when it was in the Klitschko's for so
The
long.
Klitschko's killed heavyweight boxing.
Yeah, but no, but
They're
it's
so
but it's, yeah,
boring.
but it's back. It's coming back now. It is coming back.
Yeah,
now.
but their dominance made it boring.
Yes, I agree with you. I
yeah,
agree.
100%.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is it's coming back now. So when you're saying about America doesn't care, it's revitalising the UK, which means it can be revitalised in the US.
It can, but only if they have
Sam's
a US
right, is
champion.
that- yeah, but
Without
Sam-
Anthony Joshua,
no,
we wouldn't,
or,
give it, we
no,
wouldn't
no,
care.
no, or a UK champion. A UK champion,
here's
if he
the
was
thing.
out there, could do it. But
Here's
he
the
needs
thing.
Americans to fight.
When Fury was champion, the sport wasn't half as big in this country as
Yeah,
when AJ
AJ's
was.
the golden boy.
Like AJ is the one that's bringing in all the money, like
Yeah.
the big
And
sort of
the,
pay-per-view money.
not just like his like, there's everything about AJ's good. Commercially, like looks good,
Yeah.
sells things well.
He's clean.
Fury
He's
is
cleanish.
the op-
His initials
is the-
are Armani
Fury's
jeans,
the
which is a deal
opposite,
that's
isn't
just
it?
there. It's easy.
Fury is the opposite. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
Nickname the Gypsy King.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
that anecdote he's talking about where Klitschko is like, I've fought everybody, I've knocked everyone out, and he goes,
Yeah,
you've
I fought a
never
Gypsy
fought a
Queen."
King Gypsy though. have you?" and Klitschko went, no, I haven't. And he went, yeah. Honestly, he's such a good talker on that podcast.
Yeah, he is.
He's
It's a
got
wicked
But no,
so
he's
many
such a
anecdotes.
character. He's such a
Such
character.
And he actually says, really interestingly actually, he says, I can't wait to fight Deontay Wilder because of his size. He's 6'5".
6'7".
No. Deontay Wilder's 6'5",
6'7".
isn't he?
Nah, Deontay Wilder's 6'7".
And Tyson's 6'9".
6'9". Yeah.
Yeah. And he basically says, like, the bigger they are, the easier they are to fight because they will have nowhere near my speed and skill.
true.
It's
It's
just so
true.
true. The smaller the bloke, the harder it is to fight.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you put Tony Bellew in a ring against Tyson Fury, he would struggle more
Yeah.
against Bellew than he would against the other fighters.
I would have to disagree with you on that one there, but only because we've seen Bellew at heavyweight now. If we hadn't, then I would be able to say, oh, maybe yeah. But we've seen Bellew at heavyweight. He's not that quick. The person who would be giving Fury trouble is Parker. Parker would be giving Fury trouble.
I don't know.
The reason AJ was so conservative in that fight against Parker because Parker was way too quick for him. he was like, if I get in, I can't get out fast enough.
Yeah, AJ fought that like how the Klitschko's used to fight.
I can't wait for this fight.
He just waits to win it on the
Yeah.
I love Tyson Fury. There's something about like a maverick. That you just love it. There's something about him, man.
It's because he goes completely against what you're supposed to be like.
And he's so
I love it.
so funny.
I love it.
And do you know what? There was a photo that went round of the. Obviously, you know what? The pre-fight hype for this, I think, has been awful. The promotion of this fight has been
great. It's not
really
been great.
poor.
Yeah.
In terms of, do you guys see the photo of them
two on the couch?
On the couch, and it's just been really. It's like watching like a rip-off Conor McGregor. Like you're never going to be McGregor, so stop trying.
No, but you're saying it's like. That's what they've done. They've literally just taken that template and have gone, okay, well, we're going to do that for this fight.
Yeah,
but
the tour
but
and everything didn't go well for them.
Everything is going to be a bit crapper. Like, the MC of the whole event is not as good. Like, everything is just slightly a bit...
But still, I cannot wait for this fight. And
it's going to be the fight itself, the actual bit. Do we know, have we heard anything about the undercard?
Let's find out. There will be the undercard.
You know, this has potential to be an absolute snooze fest.
Yeah, because Wilder could just get outboxed like Fury did to Klitschko.
And be boring.
You know,
as hell.
Klitschko, he even says in the podcast, Fury, he's like, I've never
watched one game. Yeah, because it's boring.
He says it's the most boring fight I've ever watched. I don't want to watch it back. It is a snooze fest.
Yeah.
He said all I did was dance around him and hit him on the nose of the jab.
But it's true. But it's effective. It's effective and it wins you fights. So
I like when someone's that.
Yeah, because
he's just
he
that
knows,
brazen about it.
He knows what he is.
He says the most boring fight of all time, me versus Klitschko. I get that belt off. I was just dancing around him for 12 rounds. He didn't land a glove.
It's true though, and it's effective. I like the fact that he's open with it. You know what I mean? You get these fighters. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that, and then on the night, it's like you're just boxing and moving. You're not actually trying to like when you watch the Dylan White versus Derek Chisora, and you realise them guys literally wanted to go home with each other's head. Yeah. That's the kind of fight where you're like, this is
the
mad.
AJ White.
So
fight.
on the undercard,
so entertaining.
On the undercard, you got Ortiz versus Kaufman.
Not really interested.
Not really interested.
Although I like Ortiz, watching Ortiz fight.
Joe Joyce versus Joe Hanks.
That's interesting, Joe Joyce. I don't know whether he's...
These are for you, because you're more of a boxing fan than both
of
us.
Joe Joyce is like one of the new sort of big British heavyweights who's coming through.
I've seen a bit of it.
Yeah, he won silver at the Olympics.
I'm not convinced.
He won silver at the Olympics.
Yeah.
But
then again, AJ won gold. And Diddy.
I think Deontay...
Always up for debate.
Deontay Wilder's brother is on the undercard. Unless there's another Marcelos Wilder. I think he might be his brother that's on the undercard as well. But I'm not sure. Yeah, he's 29 years old, Deontay Wilder's brother.
Yeah?
29 years old, and he only turned pro in May.
That's a madness.
That screams it's his brother.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's not going to be a
Oh, yeah, can you put my brother on the undercard as well? Yeah, nice.
Yeah, that screams it's his brother.
Because Tyson Fury actually says they're the easiest team to negotiate ever. And my team just went, offered them everything. They said yes to everything.
But they said yes to everything.
Yeah, well, Tyson Fury didn't care. He's going to get in the ring. Tyson Fury's going to get in that ring. He's going to dance around for 12 rounds, bop him on the nose, then walk out. He can win on points, and Deontay Wilder won't land a glove.
I think so as well. If he comes in as good a shape as he says he's in, then there's no reason. There's no reason for him not to be that whole dancing around.
Did you watch him in that first return fight?
It was terrible.
Wow. Oh, he was that bum that he got off the streets to fight him as well.
Yeah, that guy.
I know where they found him. He must have been in the bins out back him before they stick their gloves on, son, and get in the ring with Fury. There was one moment when Fury was up against the edge. He was in the corner, Fury, and he was doing like Muhammad Ali's and he was like moving his head like this, and then he turned around and he just went like with both gloves on the side of this guy's head. It was the most embarrassing fight I've ever seen. Was it on Dave or was that David A?
No, that was David A, wasn't it?
What is he doing?
The Haymaker.
David A.
So I keep laughing when we're talking about it, especially when we're talking about Bellew, because I just keep remembering a meme that I saw yesterday that's like, I'm going to see if I can find it and we'll try and bring it up on the screen if we can, if someone takes a note of what
if you resort to fighting on Dave, you know, it's game over for you.
Yeah.
It's game over for you.
But I have to say, like, the Tyson Fury return fight, I didn't watch the second.
I didn't watch the second. After the first one, I'm not watching.
Yeah, he had a second, and then he went to Frank Warren and he goes, "Nah, forget," because Frank Warren said you're not allowed to fight Deontay Wilder until you've had 5 practice warm-up fights. Seriously. Right. Tyson Fury had second and went, nah, I'm not doing it anymore, just get me a fight. I love the fact that Tyson Fury just went, you just put me in the ring with bums. I'm not getting in the ring with a bum. Get me Deontay Wilder, I'm going home.
I love him. I think he's hilarious. He's a breath of fresh air. You know when he's doing all this rubbish, like, oh yeah, coming in the flipping Batman outfit and a Lamborghini to like a Klitschko press conference. It's like, what are you doing? It's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
So this is I saw this on Twitter the other day. Cole Froch posted this photo up of him and Andy Murray.
I can't stand Cole Froch.
I'm just
How long did it take him to mention Wembley?
But wait. So the caption that got me. Someone just put, "Why is David A squaring up to a wall?" That's why I kept laughing in the middle of us talking about Tony Bellew, because I just couldn't stop thinking about that image.
He's an idiot,
squaring up
David
to a wall.
But yeah, I didn't see Tyson Fury's second fight, so I'm going to go and watch this after the podcast now.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. But again, like if we're going to predict, we're all saying Fury, yeah?
We're all saying
Fury. I'm not going to put it past Fury to knock him out.
So just
knock him out?
Yeah.
So let me ask this.
I've not seen Deontay Wilder's chin tested yet. He got
We
knocked
have,
down.
by Ortiz. Ortiz is a big puncher, bro. That's a big punch he held there.
Yeah,
Fury ain't a power puncher.
But I'm not going Fury. Maybe not Fury knockout, but maybe a stoppage. Where
You reckon?
Fury has just got him in a corner.
When was the last time he stopped
doing a
anyone,
madness?
You've already backtracked once there.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be points, but I'm trying to make it interesting.
Yeah, we're going to do live streaming. Just a question though on that. Did he give any more on the like him coming out of his depression because of being with his faith and stuff? Because I find that proper interesting.
Yeah, so basically he's obviously been he's been religious for a long time, ever since he's grown up and stuff. And
so it's from his childhood.
Yeah, from his childhood, and he basically used religion and faith as like a yardstick for him. He clung to it basically through like the dark days. And luckily, he had like his dad and stuff was really supportive. I think was sleeping at his house and stuff because he was just on the rocks. She said he basically went to see a psychiatrist and she was like, he's an imminent death risk. Do not leave him alone by himself. He will just kill himself.
Jesus.
So
he said that he had like images in his head and he knew that this was the route he was going to go down, that he was literally going to be in a padded room. That's where he thought he was going to end up.
Yeah.
It just shows you that whole thing of like literally being at the top and there only being one way to go.
Yeah.
And that's literally what happened to him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He just got himself all the way up there. It's one of those things, it's sort of like, as a kid who's grown up as being brought up to be a boxer, world champion is just, you're basically, so if your life is a film, that should be how it ends.
Well, the thing is,
then when you get it, what now?
Well, the thing is, when he was growing up, he was like, I used to watch Klitschko on TV and think my goal is going to be, I'm going to beat you, I'm going to win a title. And he did it, and then he was like, well, that's it.
That's the thing, is that you've done it now.
Yeah, where do you go from here?
That's the goals he was talking about. Once he does it, he said, when my goals were finished and I'd accomplished everything I'd set out to accomplish,
just went in a spiral.
I felt as if there was no need for me to be here anymore.
It's a key thing with it though when you talk about mental health. But like, I'll be honest, I think at some point, we've sort of hinted around this, talked about it a little bit, but we've talked about that we will do either a podcast episode or something that sort of focuses around things like, we get a lot of messages from people that are struggling from mental health issues and whatever it would, other things within that. And we've always sort of said, we should do it at some point. We want to handle it in the right way and do it properly. But I think just because it's sort of hitting on it there where you said it, that's one thing. Achievable goals is like such an important thing for people to have stuff to always be. You need an aim. You need something to be doing, and you have to make them something that you can get to.
But that's even people that aren't susceptible to depression. Like me, if I don't have something in my head, like I'm working on a project or I'm doing something, I start feeling a bit useless. Do you know what I mean? You start feeling as if a bit redundant. Like, well, what am I actually?
You go into a rut.
What am I doing? Yeah. So I think it's natural. It's just certain people are more susceptible to it than others, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, some people are. There's people who are happy to sit on their couch all day doing nothing, right? There's people that we know. I'm sure you know. I know people like scroungers, as you call them, who just do nothing all day.
Yeah.
And they're happy to do that.
Yeah. Or us this weekend, except you, but just sitting there just playing Red Dead, which brings us nicely full circle.
But anyway, we'll put some links to like mental health stuff in the description below.
Definitely.
If you haven't already, go and listen to Joe Rogan's MMA show with Tyson Fury. Super interesting guy. It's a wicked podcast.
Yeah, man.
That's pretty much it from us, I guess. Here.
We will live stream it.
We will be live streaming.
Not the whole event. We'll probably do what we did for UFC. Maybe come in on like the final 3 fights or the final 2 fights or something like that.
Because it's not like it'll be long fights. Potentially Ortiz might be a longer.
Might come in from maybe same again the last hour and a half of what we expect to be the event. But join us. That'll be December 2nd. So mark your diaries.
December the 1st, I think.
December the 1st.
The night of December the 1st.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, whatever the Wilder Fury fight date is, we'll be doing that. So thanks very much for listening, and you're watching with your eyes.
Love it.
Bye.
Peace.